put those brain things on the monks, and they're like, yo, how are they so like? Why is their brain waves showing like, like they're about to take a test, but they're just there calm? It's because I believe that there are those that really dive deep into tapping into themselves, right? And that's a lifelong practice, right? And today it's very hard to tap into yourself because there's so many things distorting our frequencies. Just think about it from a sound wave perspective, right? Forget like the metaphysical, philosophical, forget that shit, right? Because I know a lot of that people be like, oh, you talking that chakra shit. Like, here's the thing. Imagine you're in a room, right? Imagine I'm in here with y'all right now. And, well, I am here with y'all right now, but you know what I mean. But it's loud. There's loud music. You wouldn't be able to hear me. And that's just basic because those sound waves are going to distort these sound waves, right? So imagine people. Like, imagine if you're about to buy a house or something. Let's say you're doing something good for yourself. Like, you're like, yo, I'm about to buy a house. And, your energy is like, it's high. You're moving on a high pace. Like, everything is vibrant about you. And you're just moving in the right direction, in that positive direction. And somebody going like, oh, don't buy a house over there. Now, it's not coming from a place of caution. Some people could be like, hey, be careful. You should look into this and blah, blah, blah. No, it's just like, just the energy just be like, oh, why you gonna buy a house over there? And you be like, man, what's that energy, that's a frequency. I see it as like water. Like for me, when you actually look at water, and you look at a vibration, like a wave, right? Like one wave, you get people that like, you might be peaceful, you might be calm, you might be productive, and your waves are just like evenly proportioned, and you just flowing. And then here comes that motherfucker just splashing all the water, right? Right? Distorting things. Maybe they're angry. Maybe they're depressed. Maybe, whatever it is that's going on with their life. Now, here's the thing. Nothing wrong with that person, by the way. This goes back into where I work with people. And when I work with people, my job is if I see somebody, for example, they're frustrated. If I'm showing them something physically and they're frustrated, what I see is that they're frustrated mentally. That's affecting them physically. And I know that well because I was frustrated, and sometimes I still get frustrated mentally. But what I've learned is the law of alchemy, right? Well, not law, but you know what I mean. Alchemy of physically exerting what I have to sort through mentally. People, right? Fitness is therapy. People have a hard time finding outlets, right? And we're going to dive into social media in a bit, but outlets sometimes can also be traps. They can also be distractions. So you have to find healthy outlets, right? Like this podcast, for example, is an outlet for me to some degree in terms of just like, I normally journal this stuff, but I'm like, hey, why not? So it's an outlet for me. Outlet journaling wise is cool too, but now I'm documenting it on video and just sharing it on Instagram or wherever this is going there. Outlets are important. But today, number one outlet, social media. Hands down. Hands down. Doesn't matter what age you are. You ain't got shit, you ain't doing nothing, you frustrated, you hate your life. I'ma just scroll. And the scrolling is interesting because what the scrolling does, it's all by design, by the way. The interface, like the way the pictures are, comments, everything. Like even when you guys see this, just pay attention. Like just really pay attention to yourself when you use your phone, right? Like really pay attention. Now, why is this important? Social media, junk food, I love it, I can eat some chips, man. Junk food, pornography, anything that we know is like, yo, I should never been on Instagram for the last 4 hours. Like we all are grown, some of us hopefully, where if you've done something you're like, oh, I just wasted my time, you were trapped. That's by design. That's not you. It is you, but it's definitely, it's no different than if you are eating Doritos and you're like, man, this is good. Anything that you eat, and that they invested people to design those chemicals in those taste buds in your mouth. That's by design. It's not by accident. So it's not entirely your fault. But we're going to talk about will later. Because what all of this is doing is destroying willpower. People have, when I started to see a decline. Nobody's talking about this. You don't see this in the headlines. I saw a decline in willpower since the pandemic. When I do classes, I work with people on mass scale. Sometimes I'm seeing people in groups. I'm looking at everybody just going, oh man, I'm just trying to get by. And I don't care how rich, poor, whatever your situation is, everybody was like on some kind of really depressed stuff. And I get it. There's a lot to be depressed about. Really is. The world is changing. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world. But you know what? People always trucked on. Like people, when you meet older, wiser people from a time where there wasn't cell phones, there wasn't so many coping mechanisms, they figured out a way. They had strong willpowers. They were able to always push through things. I admire those people because I talked about, obviously, some personal things about myself, but when I look back on my personal story and I think about some of the things that could have been with not just me, but also other individuals in my life, and I think about adversity, and I think about overcoming, and I think about will. Where there's a will, there's a way. I always think about my path, and I've never really shared this entirely in terms of why I even got into like where I'm at now with fitness. But when I was young and I had all these emotions, like I love to work out. I got with the bartenders. The bartenders, shout outs to Giant, was real because, and now I can sum it all up. When you are working on your body and you are working out with people and some people have been locked up and they've been locked up for 30 years. So when they touch that bar and they know they not gonna get another turn, they gonna do 40 a clip, 50 a clip, right? It's like that will. I gotta get 40 in. I gotta get 40 pull-ups in. Y'all can make fun of me and be like, that's some jail shit. But there's a lot of people coming home from jail becoming millionaires on Instagram. Shout outs to Wallow. Wallow, you're a real one. For real, you are a real one. You one of the few people I listen to, and I'll be like, yo, I ain't never been locked up, but if I was locked up, I would listen to that motherfucker. Shout outs to Wallow. You're a good brother, man. We love you, man. Keep doing what you're doing. We love you. I mean, I can't express that. I mean, you already know, but shout outs to Wallow. He's a good dude. I love his energy from the cameras. But just going back to, social media and how social media is, in my opinion, distorting our frequency. Distorting our frequencies. What do I mean by that? Your brain is not designed to look on a phone at a small screen for an hour, or even, let's just say 10 minutes, and take in the whole world in 10 minutes. You cannot keep up with the whole world news. You cannot keep up what's going on with your friend, what's going on across you're processing way too much information too quick. You laughing one minute, you traumatize the other, you validated the other minute, you depressed the other minute. You're taking in too much information too quick. We tell people all the time, I tell my daughter, eat your food slow. They say eat your food slow so it can digest better, right? When you eat a meal quick, you get a stomach ache. Imagine this information, we taking in so much information so quick. Information we don't know if it fully is even real now. That's a whole nother conversation. But the point is this. You're taking in information at a high rate, a high frequency. And it's not a good high frequency. It's a high frequency where it's your brain, your nervous system. You see people more like they're shaking. Right? I move a lot. I get it. I'm a little fidgety too, but you see people kind of like they're always on edge. They call it, what do they call it? Doom scrolling. They're always feeling like something's gonna happen. And the thing is that there's enough research out there on anxiety and depression, and obviously with young children on how social media is affecting them. But I work with adults, and let me tell you, man, the kids are looking at the adults. The kids see us. You can't blame the kids because the kids see us. And even if they don't see us on the phone, what they see is that we, for the most part, when we get stressed out, we result to something that may not be the phone, but it's a video game, it's eating junk food, or it's whatever. We don't have these like productive things to go to, right? This is why I love what I do. Because when I had started bartenders, and over time, I really started to understand, like, man, your body is a vessel that you can really tap into your will, right? If you can't get that extra rep in, you have to learn how to tap into yourself real deeply. And then now you can do anything. That boy David Goggins, man, he fired me. I know he pissed a lot of people off, but hey, different strokes for different folks.